For me, it is a joy to be a priest. It is beyond my wildest dreams what living out this vocation has showed me. And when I entered the seminary, I had in my mind and I was following in my heart that what the desire that I had was that I can have an impact on people's lives in a most profound way. And what I found in priesthood is much more than that. And so one of the ways in which that desire is realized or fulfilled is in the sacrament of confession. And just the ability to sit and be in the presence in this sacred space where people come and pour out their hearts is in one sense fulfilling to me what my deep desire was when I thought about entering seminary. Getting into the hearts of people's lives. And a few days before ordination, I dreamt about confession. And for me, it was such a powerful experience that it even got me a bit nervous thinking about it. For my first confession, just being in that space, I was able to feel privilege. I was able to feel that sense of God's presence, God using me to bring about His good work, His great work of mercy in the lives of others. And so I wouldn't trade that moment for anything. For me, that is the highlight of priesthood. Being there to minister, being there to be that instrument of God's mercy to others. There's nowhere else I think I would have been able to experience that fulfillment in my life. And so, questions whether I have regrets? None whatsoever. Whether it's difficult? Yes, it is. But there is a deep sense of joy, a deep sense of God's abiding presence in the midst of living out this call. And so I am grateful for that. One of the things, the questions that I got very early on in my ministry, entering the seminary, is that people were like, why are you throwing away life? You're so promising, you have you're so young, you have so much potential ahead of you. Why are you giving all of this in one sense to priesthood? You could have been doing something else with your life. And I often respond to them that doing God's will is the best decision you could ever make in your life. And one of the misconceptions we have is that many times we think that priesthood, religious life, a life of vocation means that you are giving up so much. But I would contend that you are gaining so much because you are living your life according to God's plan for you. More often as I live and work and be in ministry, I see how much of my past is reflected in my ministry today. How much God was working in the midst of my life to bring me to this point, to prepare me for all that He has in store for my ministry. In one sense, it ties back with the first sense. How much more God was at work ensuring that I realize this sense, this deep sense of joy, this deep sense of happiness around. That is to say that whatever God may be calling you to, priesthood or religious life, that is what would give the greatest fulfillment and the greatest sense of happiness you can ever find in your life. And so your vocation is tied to your ultimate happiness. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to open your hearts to a vocation. Don't be afraid to open your hearts, as John Paul II would say, open your hearts wide to the love of Christ. And that love would lead you to God's heart, to God's plan for your life. Don't be afraid to ask that question. And when it is revealed to you, don't be afraid to follow it. Go and explore, discern, be open to the process. And God will do the rest. God will lead you where you need to go. Amen. Thank you very much, and continue to ask God, what is your will for my life? It is in that decision your true sense of happiness and joy is experienced.